The way that we'll begin this is with the presentation of colors. If everyone would please stand and put your hand over your heart for the presentation of colors.
Color guard. Right hand. Jump. Forward. March. Left. 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 Right. 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 Left. Color guard. Halt. Ready. Face. Freeze it. Colors.
Follow me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's make Dr. Morris feel welcome. Feel around.
Thank you. I won't give you a history, it will take too long. And we're anxious to hear what the young people have to say today. But what I would like to do is welcome you on behalf of Ralph Vines and myself. It's because of you, your encouragement and participation that make this public speaking contest possible. But now to the contestants, why do we have this public speaking contest? Well, it provides you an opportunity to compete with other people, young like yourself, and find out who the great speakers are. Of course, all of you are great speakers. But number two, it's a learning experience. And number three, it's a public relations opportunity, and it allows you to network with other peers. Now, every generation have what I call our speak terminology, but some people call it slangs and other things. Sometimes people in other generations or other age groups don't hear what you have to say. But I want you to know today, we're anxious to hear what you have to say. We're willing to listen to what you have to say, and we're going to try to understand what you're saying. Because what you're saying is important. After all, you are our future. And with that being said, let the showcase of speakers begin.
Our first contestant, and this is ages 9 to 12 years old, they will have 2 minutes, is Christopher Brandon. Christopher Brandon, is that correct?
My name is Brandon Christopher, and I'm going to tell you how to use your money wisely. For example, Johnny Appleseed bought a phone that was $999. Instead, he could have bought food, water, shelter, and the things he needed to survive. Sometimes I didn't use my money wisely on the things that I needed to survive. And be careful with your budget. Don't buy things that you don't have the money for. Save money for extra things. Don't buy CDs or things that cost a lot of money. And my mom, she would not give me a phone that cost a lot of money because it is not in her budget. And be careful with your bills. Don't wait to get your bills paid. Pay your bills straight when you get them so you can have that money out of the way. And do fundraisers like bake cookies, make a lemonade stand, and give money to charity. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Victory Coates, and I would like to be talking about today project-based learning. Project-based learning, or PBL, is an innovative way to learn that teaches a multitude of strategies, such as in the case of chemistry, it is the equivalent of laboratory tests. It goes hand in hand with the 21st century. Who wants to be moving forward with the latest iPhone and still have our schools back in the 20th century? I want project-based learning in classrooms because I think that it will give students the ability to make their own preferences and perceptions of the world instead of going about by the book. I asked 10 students at my school what they would rather have, project-based learning or the standardized teaching method which the teachers currently use. 6 of them said they would rather have project-based learning instead of the standardized teaching method. These answers all came out differently because each of the students are different. And if all of the students are different, then why do we each teach them as if they're one and the same? The same way, the same thing, the same time. So what about you? Would you rather have project-based learning, or would you be rather treated as the same as everybody else? Thank you for your time.
Good afternoon. My name is Allie, and I'm here today to be talking about income inequality in the U.S. What is that exactly? Well, it's a fancy way of saying that America has some very rich people and a whole lot of poor people. Back in 2006, almost 33 million American workers had an annual income of about $20,000. That's not enough to raise a family, at least in today's world. Just last year, 2018, America's most wealthy top 10% had more than 9 times as much income as the bottom 90%. Nearly 140 million American workers make $10 or less an hour. And these are your everyday people working as cashiers, fast food workers, and nursing aides. Most of these low-wage workers don't receive any health insurance from their employers. And as a result, the emergency room is their primary health care. So what does this mean for kids my age then? Well, statistically, 1 in 5 of my classmates are hungry. 1 in 5 of my classmates aren't doing very well in school because their parents are working 2 or 3 jobs and can't help them with their homework. Is there any solution to this madness? Americans must think long and hard about their priorities. It would require American workers to do their jobs with integrity so their jobs aren't outsourced overseas. It would require those rich people to stop donating to STEM programs and start buying a kid a lunch. A kid can't learn if they're hungry. With America being a #1 nation, this is simply unacceptable. Thank you.
My name is Jamaya Everett from Cloverdale Middle School. The best of the worst. In this fabulous, violent, and sometimes cruel world that we live in, violence is rampant. We should stop the violence. On the day of November 16, 2018, my pretty teenage cousin was taken from us due to violence. She was too young and too deep in my heart to just leave this world. In order for us to stop the violence against our toddlers, teenagers, adults, and elderly, We should stop and embrace our differences and difficulties in life with a positive attitude and love. Peace cannot be achieved through violence. It can only be attained through understanding. I am 13 years old and I have a bright future ahead of me. So what can we do to get the help? Victory over violence. We must defeat all violence with the power of love. On the day of December 17, 2016, I had another young lady to die due to the violence. He was my handsome little cousin. He was only 3 years old. Yes, he's gone because God wants him home. As long as people use violence to combat violence, we will always have violence. Hate begets hate, violence begets violence, and toughness begets a greater toughness. I thought I lost everything when he left, but when you realize how much it hurt, I lost someone I was really close to. They are leaving their little siblings alone. It's just not about my family. It's about every single last person in here. So what can we do to get the help, victory over violence? Some kids, which is most kids, cry themselves to sleep at night because they're alone and afraid of the violence. Will they see the light of day? We don't know. Depression is real. People can smile all day and still be broken on the inside. All I want from violence is genuine happiness. Now can y'all just take a stand and help me spell victory so that it can be heard in our collective souls, minds, and spirits? V. I. C. T. O. R. Y. Victory over violence.
My name is Chloe Farrar, and I attend Mapleview Middle School as a 6th grade student. Who here looks in the mirror every single morning? You know who looks through the mirror? Who finds yourself in the mirror self-worth? Let me break it down for you. Metaphorically speaking, looking in the mirror is a reflection of your life, your family, your decisions, basically just you. Who are you in life? Who are you now, and who do you want to be? Past, present, future. Those are the simple steps of looking through the mirror and find yourself in your self-worth. You can look back to the past and see what you could have done to improve yourself. Next step, who you are today and the decisions that you make. Are they good decisions? Are they bad decisions? Are they helping you become a better person? Now finally, after done all these steps, look at who you can be in life and take the right trail. Then set that goal in your head. And every time you face a barrier, think of that goal and all the steps you took to reach that goal. You'll then let your energy build up, and before you know it, that task has been completed. Now it's only one step of looking to the mirror and finding yourself meaning yourself worth. I know it seems long, but keep up with me. Now listen closely to this segment of my speech, because this is very important to me. And I hope it has an effect on you as well on me. And that is commitment. That very word is the key to end world hunger, to stop the violence, or even world peace. You might be thinking, this little girl doesn't know what she's talking about. But guess what? It's true. If we commit to a lot of things in life, most of the challenges we face will be completed. Plus we will have a better mindset. And then we can stop the violence. We can end world hunger, and we can make world peace. You probably forgot what we were talking about. Looking to the mirror, find self-worth, that whole thing. Well, if you think I'll put another subject, think again, because I've been preaching about this all along. Set a goal in life. Commit to that goal. Commit to you want life, commit to you want life, and commit to you want to be in life. Thank you.
Life is not a 100-meter dash. It's more of a marathon. And it doesn't matter how fast you are, but whether you keep your head up until the finish line. Now let's start with one of my mom's favorite stories. Once upon a time, there was a tortoise and a hare. And one day, they decided to go and race against each other. Obviously, we all know that the tortoise won, but the hare could have won. The hare had the talent, the speed, but the hare had no hard work. Oftentimes, I consider myself as the hare. Victory comes easy to me at first, but soon I get to take naps like the hare while others are working and studying. And slowly and surely, the tortoise passed me. Honestly, I knew I was settling for the easy, but back then, I just didn't really care. Until one day, I heard what John F. Kennedy said about the space exploration. We do these things not because they're easy, but because they're hard. That inspired me that if astronauts can do an almost impossible task, why couldn't I with an easy one?
Now I know that with perseverance, dedication, and your own talents, we can really do things out of this world. Each and every one of us have a special, unique talent that must be shared with the world. To wrap this all up, let's keep this quote in mind. Hard work without talent may be a shame, but talent without hard work is a tragedy. And think of all the tragedies we could turn into triumphs if we worked harder.
My name is Yassine Beckett, and I'm a 12-year-old at Pinnacle View Middle School. The title of my speech is Falling on Your Face. Now, when I say falling on your face, of course I don't literally mean falling on your face. What I mean by it is being afraid to do something because of what others might think about you. The thing is, inside every human being, there is a desire to pursue a goal and discover new ambitions. Whether that goal is to become an actor, a writer, a public speaker, a football player, no matter what it is, there's something inside of everyone. Sadly, however, most people spend their time in their comfort zones because they're intimidated to chase a goal that's uncertain and prone to fail. Now, this happens so often that in a 2018 study, it shows that over 33% of Americans have fear of failure. And this fear of failure can become so intimidating, it can completely sabotage a person's chances of achieving a goal that is not a certain success. Now, yes, staying in your comfort zone makes you feel safe and secure, but functioning in a state like this will hold you back from opportunities, experiences, but most of all, overall happiness. Now, we have to admit, no one likes to fail, but it's a crucial part of our lives, and we must learn to adapt to it. So ways to get over are to set small goals for yourself, taking things slowly, step by step, or doing things while no one are watching. So take a risk, and if you fail, get back up. Learn the lesson you're meant to learn, and do it again. And remember, the biggest risk of all is not taking one. Thank you.
My name is Nora Vincent, and today I'll be talking to you guys about screen time. It's a good portion of your day spent texting your friends, watching YouTube, or playing just one more round of video games. These small interactions can have a tremendous impact on your life. Scientists have proven that children who spend a lot of time on screens have a harder time at school, especially on language and thinking tests. Also, brain scans have found a premature thinning of their cortex, meaning the brain looks older than it should. On social media, people will reach for connection by posting photos and hoping to get a plethora of likes. If they don't get enough likes, they will often feel hurt and unwanted. If they do get enough likes, they may feel good, but only for a short period of time. This shows that as humans, we need good, strong, and real relationships. When we pick up our phones, we forget about the person next to us. Sue Johnson says, we need relationships that are accessible, responsive, and engaged. Although sometimes videos are more enjoyable than books, books are better for your creativity. When you read a book, you have to imagine the characters and the settings. Movies and films will do that all for you. All of this revolves around one thing. Too much screen time limits our ability to live our best life. Screens are engaging and they draw us in. But perhaps we should each consider whether that is a good thing or not.
Moving on now to our next set of 9 or 12-year-olds, and I'm sure they will be equally impressive. Please welcome now Miss Megan McKinney.
From the garbage. Then, one of your kids gets sick. When you go to get in your car, you realize it has been stolen by looters. When your friend finally comes and you finally get to the hospital, the power goes out. This means that the hospital cannot help you. This also means that you will get your child side praying that they will make it. This is so common in the country of Venezuela. This first truly started when Venezuela elected Hugo Chavez for president. At first, he seemed amazing. He started public programs using oil money. Everything was fine until the price of oil went down. When this happened, the government couldn't afford to pay for these things anymore. Shortages of basic needs start to happen more and more often. Things like meat, milk, rice, flour, toilet paper, and medicine were scarce. In 2013, Chavez died, leaving Nicolas Maduro in charge. Unfortunately, things got way worse. Blackouts were common, yet food was not. Over 12% of the people have left the country, including half of the doctors. By 2018, over half the kids have dropped out of school, and 90% of the people are under the poverty line. Thankfully, there might be some solutions. For example, an open election with new candidates. Another idea is to use some of the oil money to support people starting factories and businesses. Lastly, other countries should support economic change. This will take a while, but in the long run, it'll be worth it.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, or as my fourth period teacher would say, good afternoon. Hello, my name is Alonzo Montgomery, and I'm currently a 12-year-old 6th grade student attending Mapleville Middle School. Now I wonder, have you ever been picked on just because you're different? Your clothes, your shoes, maybe your hair? As a matter of fact, I can almost guarantee that everyone in this room today has experienced or witnessed this type of behavior. If tolerated for a certain period of time, this can end relationships, sever friendships, and even drive some people to suicide. Yes, suicide. In fact, according to the CDC, in 2016, there were over 40,000 recorded suicides. On average, the U.S. suicide rate has increased by 24%. That is the highest rate recorded in 28 years. I know, right? Statistics. Now, I've talked to you about some of the damage that hurtful comments and actions can lead to. But now I want to talk to you about how to prevent that from happening. Now, I want all of you to close your eyes. Imagine. Think back to a time where you felt that someone was genuinely kind to you. It could have been at a store, walking your dog, at work, and many more. Have you got that picture in your head yet? Good. Now I want you to think about how that makes you feel. Does this memory or flashback make you feel happy? Grateful? If so, you have what I call the touch of kindness. This feeling is experienced when someone does something so kind to you that every time you think about it, it warms your heart. This is what other people feel when you are kind to them. But if you're mean and hateful, people will feel like I said before. Sad matter has suicidal thoughts or actions. To conclude this speech, the content of your character can send off a positive aura around you. But if you're negative to people, people won't want to be around you as much. Spread kindness, not negativity. Be kind, be daring, be bold. My name is Alonzo Montgomery. Thank you.
Just one drink won't hurt. Come on, people drink all the time when they're pregnant. And look at us, we turned out fine. It'll help you sleep. And plus, I don't really want to drink alone. Good afternoon. My name is Trey Norman, and my little brother Henry has fetal alcohol syndrome. I'm going to spend a few minutes talking to you about the importance of education on the prevalence of fetal alcohol syndrome in our schools, families, and court system. Did you know that fetal alcohol syndrome is the leading cause of intellectual disabilities, and yet it is the only disability that is 100% preventable? Well, what exactly is fetal alcohol syndrome? Drinking while pregnant can cause brain damage that cannot be overcome, no matter the amount of therapy, counseling, or education one might receive. A recent study shows that fetal alcohol syndrome is very prevalent in our schools, but due to the lack of funding and education on the topic, it is often referred to as the hidden disability. Kids are mislabeled as problems in the classroom and don't get the help they deserve. So you are probably now thinking, what can we do to change this? Well, the first step is to recognize this as a disability. Currently, more kids are being diagnosed with fetal alcohol syndrome than with autism, yet in the state of Arkansas, you must receive therapy for a secondary diagnosis. Another thing we need is more education, specifically for our high percentage of teenage moms. The newest study shows that no amount of alcohol is safe while pregnant. I love my little brother a lot. In fact, I wouldn't change him for the world. But one thing I often wonder is if he would, when growing up, is if he would wish he was just a little bit different. I wonder if he would wish that his birth mother would stop drinking alcohol when she was pregnant. My guess is that his answer would be yes. But while it may be too late for little Henry, it is never too late to change the futures of others around you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Eric Tan, and I'm a 5th grader from Don Roberts Elementary, and the title of my speech is Unplug and Reconnect. And before I start, may I ask you a question? How
of you sitting in this room today do not have a smartphone. I bet those of you who said yes are part of a minority. Smartphones have radically changed our lives, such as making us be able to instantly communicate to anyone across the globe. And they make it convenient for us to surf the web. However, they can also cause a lot of problems. Have you ever taken a look at a family at a restaurant and noticed that instead of talking and having a conversation with each other, they're all focused on the device? Have you noticed that even in the presence of breathtaking scenery, people aren't really enjoying the scene? They're all just focused on taking a picture and posting it onto social media to show their friends and followers where they got to go and check how many likes they got. Don't you think that something was wrong? Did you know the average American checks their phone every 10 minutes for social media and text messaging? And the average teen fills 3,400 text messages a month. That is insane. Nowadays, people get so used to browsing on their laptops or texting on their smartphones, sitting in silence, laughing with people they have never met on social media, that nobody is taking any time to reflect or to enjoy their surroundings because they're too busy being hypnotized by dancing cats online. People spend more and more time with their nose in a device rather than actually talking to each other and having a conversation with friends face to face. How is that social? Shouldn't we be laughing and joking with one another instead of simply attaching an LOL to the end of a text message? So, if you agree with me, please put your smartphone down and go to a place where you can relax or have a conversation with friends face to face. Because remember, an online friendship can never compare to the real thing. What if we all decided to be different and put our smartphones down? What if we all started talking to each other again? Wouldn't that be better for all of us? So let's unplug and reconnect. It's time to make a change. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Camila Velasquez, and today I will be talking about the immigration reform, from DACA to the border wall. Some 700,000 undocumented immigrants have been caught in a debate over border security. Yet again, as President Donald Trump urges Congress to fund the signature border wall. The DACA program announced in 2012 shields undocumented immigrants brought into the United States as children from deportation and allows them to legally work in the country. Recipients are required to renew their protections every 2 years. The White House tried to end this program in 2017, arguing that it was created without proper statutory authority. Under the administration's original plan, the program would have begun to expire in March 2018, but the move is immediately met with a slew of legal challenges and subsequent court rulings that have kept the program alive. Many DACA recipients aren't able to obtain legal status on their own because they were either brought into the country legally or they overstayed their visas. That often precludes them from becoming a lawful permanent resident because one of the requirements is having entered and resided in the country legally. The Supreme Court has not taken any action on DACA despite the administration's request for the court to intervene. In avoiding the case for now, the program will likely continue to live for a few more months, allowing recipients to continue to apply for renewals. President Donald Trump is that driving force behind that hyper-focused immigration. With his tweets and comments about the migrant caravan marching north and his plans to deploy more troops into the United States-Mexico border and his attempts to follow through on his 2016 pledge to build a border wall. On Tuesday, he said he will use his executive authority to end birthright citizenship, a move sought by anti-immigration groups who claim it's been abused by undocumented immigrants and companies that peddle birth tourism. Thank you.
My name is Ariana Williams and I attend Forest Heights STEM Academy. Women as the driving force for economic development. Women still remain a large unused source of talent and labor in the workforce. The U.S. economy will not operate at its full potential unless government and employers remove obstacles and allow for full participation by women in the workforce. Although women's access to economic opportunities has greatly increased here and around the world, many women still face considerable hurdles in the workforce, such as social and cultural barriers, discriminatory laws, and inadequate access to training. Opening more educational opportunities for girls, primarily in the fields we're known as STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. This would help narrow the potential wage gap between men and women. Never before have women played a major role in society than they do today. The United States Congress is an example of this. It has the highest percentage of women voting membership in U.S. history. Our former First Lady Michelle Obama said that no country can ever truly flourish if it blocks the potential of its women and deprives itself of the contribution of half its citizens. Without women's empowerment and gender equality, societies would not be able to achieve the Millennium Development Goals and reach their full economic development potential. Making the best use of women's talents and drive must become an active and urgent concern for those businesses and organizations with a stake in America's economic success. Women have made great strides in cracking the glass ceiling for economic development. We are in an era of great change. We must continue to improve growth in the world's largest economy if we intend to stay undefeated. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Did you know that the world's tiger population has decreased to 3,000 tigers from a whopping 100,000 tigers? Up until the 1980s, an estimated 100,000 elephants were being killed each year. This is mainly due to poaching. Poaching is an illegal act of taking animals from the wild and is commonly associated with land use rights. Not just elephants and tigers, but rhinos and even lizards have been cruelly killed. But why do poachers do this? The incentive for them is money, since they can do jewelry, decorative pieces, medicine, and smuggle animal parts. For example, a baby gorilla can be sold for up to $40,000 on the black market. The adverse effects of poaching are significant. It can affect the targeted species potentially to extinction. It affects the food chain, the natural pyramid of life, and the very ecosystem that even we people depend on. Apart from that, it has devastating effects on the local populations there that depend on wildlife tourism. So what are some things that we can do to help stop poaching from happening? First, governments can pass more stringent laws against poaching. And as responsible citizens of the world, we can help by supporting various wildlife organizations. We can increase awareness in our local schools and communities, and we can also decrease demand of products from poaching by not buying them. Finally, just like we love our pets, I urge you to love and respect our wildlife, because after all, it is mankind's job to protect and to preserve Earth's treasures, including its wildlife. I'm Nikhil Dogra from Don Roberts Elementary. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kendall Reddy, and I'm going to be talking about using robotics in industry to innovate in the 21st century. The Boston Consulting Group suggests that business executives be aware of ways that robots are changing the global business landscape. They see robots changing retail, logistics, transportation, healthcare, food processing, mining, and agriculture. The key story is that the robotics market, dominated by Japanese and European robotics manufacturers, has given way to non-industrial robotics categories like personal assistant robots, UAV, and autonomous vehicles, with the epicenter shifting towards Silicon Valley. This has become a hotbed for artificial intelligence. Amazon is a major robotic company to watch in 2019. Their prototype of a robot had computer vision that can navigate through homes. Amazon is also rolling out its AWS RoboMaker Robotics Cloud platform that helps developers build robots, add intelligent functions, and simulate and test them in a variety of environments. RoboMaker runs on top of the robot operating system and extends the framework to AWS services for machine learning, monitoring, and analytics. Another household name you might not be familiar with when it comes to the robotic industry is Facebook. They are looking for robotic talent to make public a patent for a telepresence robot. Robots are poised to replace agricultural hands. They can pluck fruit, reap crops, and milk cows. They can also carry out tasks much faster and with a great degree of accuracy. We have a strong global market for robots.
We're moving on to our 13 to 16-year-old category. And some more impressive speeches, ladies and gentlemen.
1.7 million dogs in the USA. Would that surprise you? Probably not, because America is a pretty big country. What about if I told you that over 3.3 million of those dogs are strays or rescues? My family actually adopted a rescue, an adorable terrier mix, and she's the perfect fit for our family. Rescues come in all sorts of sizes, breeds, and temperaments, and if you're just set on the breed, 25% of rescues are purebreds. My family adopted our pup, and hopefully after hearing the speech, you'll do the same for your next pet. Perhaps now you're asking, why should I adopt a rescue? According to the Humane Society of the United States, adopting a rescue is a good idea for several reasons, one of which you're both giving an animal a new home and opening up space for another stray who needs it. Also, according to PETA.com, puppy mills treat their breeding dogs very poorly, and when they're no longer able to reproduce, the mother dogs are either killed or gotten rid of at auction. Finally, according to thethings.com, rescue dogs love you harder because you saved them. You can see it in their eyes. They're very appreciative and very happy to have a new loving family. Many of the rescue dogs make great pets because they are already house trained from previous owners and are used to living with people. They are loyal to their new owners. One of the reasons being that their dogs in general are already known to be loyal, but also because if the dog is treated well, then they will try to repay the kindness to their owner. So next time you're thinking about getting a pet, you might want to consider adopting a rescue and adding some warm and fuzzy into your life.
Have you ever had a time in your life where you felt unsure of yourself? Maybe you were introducing yourself to someone or giving an answer to a question. Whatever the case, during those moments you had a voice in your head. For me, that voice is Gordon Ramsay. For those of you that don't know who Gordon Ramsay is, he's one of the top chefs in the country and is known for his criticisms. Most likely, that voice is telling you things that have caused you to doubt yourself. We all have tough life choices to make from time to time. It doesn't help when you have an angry British chef yelling at you. Mr. Ramsay, being the angry British chef that he is, represents something. What does he represent? Well, he represents self-doubt. What is self-doubt? Self-doubt or low self-esteem is defined by the dictionary as the lack of confidence in one's abilities. On MasterChef or Hell's Kitchen, we see Mr. Ramsay give constant criticism to the contestants, such as when we tell ourselves, I can't do this, or I'm going to fail, we put ourselves down instead of doing what needs to be done. We allow our own personal Gordon Ramsay to constantly criticize us over everything we do. Now, how exactly does this affect us mentally? Well, I'm sure that we can all imagine Mr. Ramsay as that voice of uncertainty in our heads at this point. How exactly do his criticisms affect us mentally? Generally, self-doubt can lead to low self-esteem, which can cause anxiety and depression. So how can we silence Mr. Ramsay and alleviate the effects of self-doubt and raise our self-esteem? So some ways to silence Mr. Ramsay are by going to therapy or starting a journal. Now, not everybody can afford therapy. This is where a journal or diary comes in handy. According to the Positivity blog, keeping a journal can be a helpful habit for many reasons. It can help you to keep a realistic record of your life or help you discern the lies from the truth in your head. Other ways to raise your self-esteem are by acknowledging your positive self-qualities. By knowing what self-doubt is, understanding how it affects us mentally, and by knowing and learning the skills to stop it, we can grow as human beings. Not only that, but we won't have to constantly listen to Ramsay's criticisms. At the end of the day, what's important is that we learn to love and appreciate ourselves. Thank you.
My name is Reese Connors, and the title of my speech is Veganism, a Fad or a Solution. In the last 3 years, there's been a 600% increase among Americans adopting a plant-based diet. Is this staggering increase just a fad, popularized by influencers such as President Bill Clinton, actor Brad Pitt, and singer Ariana Grande? Or do the 6% of Americans who identify as vegan view the plant-based diet as a conscious effort to solve problems associated with our health and climate? One of the most pressing health problems in the United States is obesity, and it will soon become the country's leading cause of preventable deaths. Arkansas is the 7th most obese state, and here in Pulaski County, 65% of adults are considered obese.
There's increasing evidence to suggest that the vegan diet mitigates high cholesterol and type 2 diabetes. With obesity on the rise, the vegan diet is definitely one to consider to prevent or reverse this epidemic. President Clinton adopted the vegan diet after a heart attack and lost significant weight as well as reversed his risk of chronic heart disease. The Clinton Foundation continues to educate Americans on the benefits of healthy eating, as well as the other environmental benefits that a plant-based diet provides. Although some choose veganism for health reasons, others see the benefits in a wider scope. Globally, pollution has become one of the hot topics of debates among politicians and scientists alike. Animal agriculture is responsible for more greenhouse gas emissions than all of the world's transportation systems combined. The United States produces 2 trillion pounds of animal waste annually, and here in Arkansas, this waste has begun to compromise our water quality. A CNH hog farm in Newton County was producing so much waste that the runoff began contaminating the buffalo, which was almost 7.5 miles away. Rather than exploiting our resources to build animal farms, emphasizing our already booming rice and soybean crops would provide a cleaner environment and a shift towards a plant-based lifestyle here in Arkansas. And whether the vegan diet is used for personal betterment, as President Clinton used it to achieve his goal of living long enough to meet his grandchildren, or used to play a part in combating climate change, I encourage you to give it a chance as a solution rather than viewing it as just a fad. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Dominic Diamond, and I live my day-to-day life dealing with something called teenage angst. Don't worry, it's not as scary as it sounds. Millions of teens go through the same thing I do. Well, what is it, this thing called teenage angst? For some, it's an uncontrollable fear of the future, and others, a deep sense of worry about the world. It's something our parents, teachers, and politicians don't understand, and why? Because the basis of these fears change with each generation. Today's problems are not like yesterday's. In fact, one study done by the National Survey of Children's Health says teen anxiety rates have gone up by 20% in the last 10 years. Having some trouble understanding? Well, let's look into your life of your average 16-year-old. I wake up every morning, get dressed, and eat breakfast, and make my way to school. There I learn about different theorems, dates, and historical figures I should know about. But by the time I get home, that's when the work sets in. No, not because of the 8 pages of homework I have waiting on me, but because that's another day spent where I didn't learn about laws I should know, how to save for a house, or even do my taxes. And I begin to worry about my future. Well, the weekend comes around and I want to hang out with my friends, and yeah, we're having a good time, but my mind is on other things. See, I have to worry about what I'm doing, who I'm with, what I'm wearing, even where my hands are placed. Because it just takes 1 second to become another statistic. And it makes me fear, will I even have a future? Well, after a long week, I just want to sit down and check my phone, but when I open my Snapchat or Instagram, the headlines can be frightening. They talk about corrupt politicians, mass violence, and dying ecosystems. And it makes me wonder, what type of future are we as youth being left with? Now, there's no magic pill that'll cure teenage angst. Our only hope is this: we are the future. One day, we'll grow up to be the future doctors, teachers, politicians, and parents. It's our world to inherit, and believe me, we will make the best of it. We'll educate ourselves today, so we'll be better prepared for tomorrow. Thank you.
Our entire lives we've been hearing the children's phrase, "Sticks and stones may break your bones, but words will never hurt you." How many times have you heard that? Sticks and stones can cause physical injury. Doesn't that hurt as much as words? How much value can your words have? As humans, we absolutely have to communicate. That's how we survive. But have you been taught how to properly communicate? Words mean everything. I'll give you an example. Look at the person next to you. Tell them what you ate for breakfast without words. Impossible, right? Words can be used to uplift you. Not everything has to be negative. I want to help people understand that it can be all positive.
Yeah, that's not the world we live in, but it can be. Sticks and stones may break your bones, but words can never hurt you. How many times have you heard that? Sticks and stones may break your bones, but words can never hurt you. Okay, now throw that out. It's in the past. Sticks and stones can cause physical injuries. A cut or scrape, maybe even a bruise. Yeah, it hurts now, but it will heal. A Band-Aid, some ointment, some ice. Physical injuries will heal. Words, however, have more power than we would ever know. Words can cause emotional injury, mental injury. Can you ever fully heal from that? No, seriously, can you ever fully heal from mental injury? Small words, big value. I have had countless physical injuries, yet I still got up this morning to come share with and speak to you all. That's because all of my physical injuries, my sticks and stone injuries, have healed. Oh. But mental injury, there is no Band-Aid, no ointment, no ice for mental injury. How can you heal then? Does a mental bruise ever heal? I can tell you, you are so intelligent. Or I can say, you are so intelligent. How did each make you feel? I said the exact same thing with a different value. Small words, big value. Now ask again. How much value can your words have? No. How much value do you want your words to have? Thank you.
Do I play it short or stay deep for the long haul? Should I buy this item now or should I save my money and buy a bigger item later? Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jude Croswell, and I'm here to talk to you about how teenagers like me can learn to make big plays managing our money by setting a savings goal. Do we have any baseball fans here today? Great. I myself am a baseball player, usually positioned in the outfield. Now when playing this position, you have to play it deep and safe to ensure you're prepared for the big hit. Or you can play it short, trying to make a quicker catch closer to the infielder, but risk not being ready when the ball's hit over your head. Setting a savings goal is like playing in the deep field, saving up your money and being ready when those expenses come out. This is a much better choice than spending your money on the quick, in-the-moment buy that suddenly comes your way. Saving money is not something that comes naturally to us. In fact, a 2012 poll from the ING Direct showed that 87% of teenagers know little to nothing about managing their money. According to a Rand Youth poll, only around 38% of U.S. teenagers are actively saving up their money. Just like playing in the outfield, we need to learn these money skills and put them into practice. Now, most teenagers like me don't make a lot of money. And the little money we do have, we usually spend it on the newest video games, movies, or fast food, instead of saving it up for something. By setting a savings goal, we can say no to the impulse buy and know that we will get a bigger payout later. For example, should I go out to eat with my friends every week? Or should I start saving up for a car I want to buy? Let's see. If I were to skip multiple weeks eating out with my friends, then I would have enough money to make a down payment on that car I wanted. Comparing how much fun I'll have driving my friends around and going places whenever I want, versus the occasional bite to eat where my mom has to drive me there, now that's embarrassing. And it makes the savings goal easy. Playing it deep, setting a savings goal, being prepared for the hit to the outfield, the big expense of the car payment, ensures I'll make this catch and enjoy driving my friends around. Ensures I'll drive my friends around and going to different places. I feel that having good money management skills at a young age can lead to financial success as well as being extremely successful in the workforce. Setting savings goals and meeting them is a key point to a smooth route through the curveballs and hard hits life throws at you. Thank you for your time.
Look at me. I can be who I want to be where I want to be, if I work hard at it. Have you ever heard of that? Well, I took that to heart. I'm the future president of the United States of America. Looking at my past, being a studious student, a caring brother, and a loving son, I look at America and I see my people, white, black, brown, tan, yellow, and red. I redefine myself as a true leader. When I look back and see myself, I believe in myself at all times, at all costs. When my people are afraid, I will soothe them. When my people have hatred, I will show them a loving me.
Good afternoon. I'm Neil Dogra, and I'm here to talk to you about my thoughts on education. Now, let me take all you back in time to the days of my terrible twos. One day, I was waddling through a mall with my parents when a picture book caught my attention. I wanted it then and there. So, what was my strategy? I prostrated myself across the floor, demanding immediate action. Or, in other words, threw a temper tantrum. But, for some unknown reason, it worked. And I received a book filled with magical photos of the universe that I've been wanting for so long. I flipped through the pages with wide-eyed bewilderment, but I couldn't read yet. Yes, it's true, the eyes cannot see what the mind doesn't know. So, filled with a sense of urgency, I went and I had decided in that moment I had to go to school. Education is both formal and informal. Even though it is most oftenly equated to formal academic curriculum, it really encompasses almost every experience one has in life. Every instance that shapes an individual's personality, thinking, or belief system. Thank you.
Here's an interesting study. So 2 groups of students were proposed with a simple task: to construct paper airplanes. Now here's the catch. One group was allowed to use Google, and the other was unable to use any external help. Obviously, the group that was allowed to use Google had overall more attractive, viable airplanes. But the 2 most outstanding planes in the entire experiment were from the non-Google group. As I pondered these results, I concluded the reason the non-Google group had more successful airplanes was simply because they rejected the accepted convention that it had to be a paper airplane. As an overthinker, I can't help but wonder, what if we applied this to tasks greater than constructing paper airplanes? What if we could have mirrored these results? This is precisely the concept I want you guys to ponder today, especially with our generation beginning to alienate the importance of creativity. It is imperative that we begin pushing our children beyond the instructionalized, success-based mindset to unlock their greatest potential. However, I didn't always have this mindset. When I was younger, I wasn't a risk taker, and this always led me to an overwhelming terror of failure. Nowadays, the most pressing problem facing our youth is the newfound overemphasis upon reality, stealing from them the opportunities to be spontaneous. It seems as if we've allowed risk-taking to be forgotten as a fragment of the past, when it's the building block of our future. And the reason behind this is because we associate risks with failure. We need to pass down to our children not to fear failure, because if we continue to envision success as an uphill climb, we will only ever scale hills, never peak mountains. Because if we take a look at the world's most majestic mountains, we'll find that they aren't diagonal or linear. No, mountains have vast plateaus and man-swallowing crevices, but that's why we should push people to top them.
My name is Millie Ketcher, and I'm an 8th grade student at Pulaski Heights Middle School. I want to talk to you today about your health. I know it's something we always talk about, especially right now with childhood obesity and cancer and diabetes. Many of us have loved ones that have suffered from these diseases, such as cancer, diabetes, and Alzheimer's. Well, what if I could tell you that they could be reversed? Now, processed meat and red meat has been classified as a Group 1 carcinogen, which is the same as tobacco cigarettes. These are incredible because this is something that the American Cancer Society puts on their webpage to show what you could eat. Now, this is just astounding because they're basically, it's like the American Lung Society putting on their webpage how to roll your own cigarettes. I mean, it's just awful. And when you go and see who sponsors these people, it's Tyson Food Products and Meat Corporation. They're not trying to help you because a person cured is a customer loss. Now, this is awful because we have so many people dying around us, and our loved ones are so valuable and important to us. Would you rather have a juicy burger or see 10 more years of your life? Think about that. The reason I'm so stuttery and shaking is because sharing this news with other people is something that's so breathtaking that I can't even explain to you the reasonings that why isn't everyone being told this, you know? Like, why are we just being kept in the dark? And the government is a lot of the part that funds these societies because they want to keep people in the dark because knowledge is something you can't take away from someone. It's something that you've been kept down, and if you have it, it's doubt, you know? It's something that you're taking away. It's dumb. Thank you so much for listening.
I will be a good person with knowledge in my mind, honesty in my heart, strength in my body, make good friends, become an awesome black belt, and community leader. Ladies and gentlemen, what I just demonstrated to you today was the art of discipline. Whether you are a Taekwondo student, a high school student, or being surrounded by family, friends, and adults. Discipline shows up. Discipline means training people to obey the rules. Simple. In the world of martial arts, Taekwondo represents the physical and mental side. The physical side is when we learn form and technique from white to black belt level. The mental side is when we learn biblical scriptures, the U.S. preamble, poetry, and we even learn our ABCs, but forward and backward. Z, Y, X, W, V, U, T, S, R, Q, P, O, N, M, L, K, J, I, H, G, F, E, D, C, B, A. Being taught by my Taekwondo instructor, who is an 8th degree black belt, has encouraged me to think before I act and being respectful to others. And mentally, discipline has given me confidence to master my form and technique. Strength and determination is a guide to accomplishment as a plan for one to keep their goals going. So effectively what I'm saying is never give up on your dreams. Thank you.
Participation awards, a big win or a failure. My name is Dylan Patel, and I'm part of the Participation Trophy generation. What is that, you ask? We are the generation that's being awarded for just showing up. We're clueless to how the world works. We expect a great job, a great life, and wealth to magically fall into our laps. We're too entitled, too sensitive, and too selfish. But how is this our fault when adults hand out trophies like candy and tell us, you're a winner, and you're a winner? What happened to teaching us how to take our losses with honor and humility? When NFL player James Harrison returned his children's participation trophies, the media made him look like a bad parent. How dare he hurt his kids' feelings? But when does the real world ever care about people's feelings? When I made the football team, I got very little playing time. I went to practices ready and eager to play. I wanted to be out on the field just as much as a star player. But despite my 100% efforts, the outcome was always the same. The cold, hard bench and no playing time. Yet at the end of every season, a hunk of plastic was given to me. And my self-esteem, the very thing that the trophy was supposed to build up, collapsed. And so, why am I telling you this? To prove that kids aren't dumb. Adults, please don't send us out into the real world with a false sense of pride, because out there, no one is going to coddle us. If you want us to win at life, please teach us the right way. Thank you.
My name is Katie Jarrison, and I'm an 8th grader at Pinnacle View. Leggings, one of the most prohibited item of clothing in our schools. Shorts and skirts, sure, they may be allowed, but only if they come down to your knees. These are all just a few rules in the LRC handbook. These are also reasons why girls are being taken out of their classes to either be sent home or to in-school suspension. Education is being taken away from young girls every day due to the strict and unreasonable dress code. Heather Taylor, a high school principal in South Carolina, was talking about leggings when she said, "Unless you're a size 0 or 2 and you wear something like that, even if you aren't fat, you look fat." This principal is body shaming people who are perfectly average and telling them what they can and can't wear. Her saying these things is lowering girls' self-esteem for no reason. The average jean size for a 14-year-old is 3'4". This is a perfectly healthy size for a girl, and she's basically telling them that it isn't, which can lead to eating disorders or worse. This is exactly what dress code does. Now, don't get me wrong, dress code is necessary, and there needs to be one in place. But saying that we have to hide parts of our bodies, like our shoulders or even our legs, is too far. When I asked the teachers and administrators at my school why the dress code was the way it was, they said it's because they don't want the clothes that we wear to be distracting to the classmates around us, the boys. So really, I can wear something comfortable like leggings because it'll be distracting and will be affecting the classmates around me and will somehow affect their learning environment. Or if I wear a tank top or an off-the-shoulder top, it'll make it difficult for the boys to learn. It's like it's our fault that they're distracted and we have to change, instead of them being taught to control themselves. This teaches boys that shoulders and other parts of our bodies are sexual objects. Instead, we need to be teaching boys that girls aren't sexual objects. Another reason why the dress code is unfair is not only are our clothes options limited, but boys also tend to get away with a lot more. For example, both a boy and a girl could be wearing jeans with multiple holes above the knee, but a girl would be more likely to get dress coded for it. Studies show that for every 10 people getting dress coded, 9 of those are girls. Why am I getting dress coded with 1 rip above the knee when there are boys walking around with 3? Women have been forced since the colonial times to conform to men's expectations and limitations of clothing. It's 2019, and this is still happening. When is this going to stop?
Auschwitz begins wherever someone looks at a slaughterhouse and thinks they're only animals. Theodore W. Adorno. My name is Antonio Ajardo, and I'll be talking to you about animal abuse. About 6.5 million animals enter animal shelters every year. Every year, roughly 1.5 million animals get euthanized. While these numbers are horrendous, what's even worse is that they've fallen greatly from previous years. Many people think that it's a good thing that they've fallen, and they have. The bad part is, that they were ever that high in the first place? Why should man's prayer for mercy be heard by what's above him when he shows no mercy to what's under him? Pierre Trubetskoy. So today I'm going to be talking about two forms of animal abuse, and I'm going to show you some statistics to show how big of a problem animal abuse really is. So let's begin. According to the caninejournal.org, according to the caninejournal.org, 66,000 dogs and 21,000 cats are subjected to animal abuse just in the U.S. alone. It's not even just cosmetics cosmetics testing these animals are forced to endure. Oftentimes it's chemical, drug, or even food testing. It takes 55 minks to make a single mink coat. Likewise, it takes 17 foxes to make a single fur coat. How many people have a fur coat or something like that? A lot of people do. So can you imagine how many animals die for the clothes that they wear? Now I'm going to be talking about some forms of animal abuse. For instance, animal hoarding. Animal hoarding was a dirty secret until the hoarders appeared on our TV screens and told us how they were compelled to collect dogs, cats, and parrots. That so many dogs, cats, and parrots that they ended up in cages inches bigger than their body for life. Ingrid Newkirk. Animal hoarding is classified, and the definition of animal hoarding is collecting more than average number of animals while being unable to care for them at the same time denying this inability. Oftentimes the people who hoard animals have a mental disability, and though this is a problem that many people know about, only 2 states in the United States have legislation that clearly defines how these people will be punished. Now we're going to be talking about greyhound racing. A greyhound advocacy group titled Greyhound 2K USA and the ASPCA came together to make the first greyhound report thing titled High Stakes. This showed that oftentimes animals are kept in cages, small cages, in these big warehouses that aren't heated or air conditioned, and a lot of times they have injuries, like they obtain injuries on the track, such as crushed skulls and spinal paralysis. And oftentimes they have parasites and stuff that aren't taken care of because the people who run these things don't care. Okay, so we all heard all these stories, okay? How many people heard something funny in one of these speeches? Okay? Do you remember what that speech was about? I can guarantee you at least one of you people in here don't know what that speech was about that they thought funny. Some people are going to leave out of this room and they're never going to think about anything any of us said again. I pray that people will start caring more about the animals and about the things around us because it matters. Every great dream begins with a dreamer. Always remember, you have within you the strength, the patience, and the passion to reach for the stars and change the world. Harriet Tubman. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Keela Kaufman. I'm from Dunbar Magnet Middle School, and this is Using Our Heads for Ammo. 95% of Americans watch the news. According to the American Psychological Association, half of them say it causes them stress. Let that sink in. The media are great on elaborating on cherry-picked subjects that can easily sway a crowd. These subjects don't even really deserve the breaking label. By a show of hands, how many have heard that China is feeding antibiotics to its animals, or that India is now forming its populations to vaccinate their children? See? Not that much. And there are 2 main ways the news like to use. bias and for gain information. For example, Fox News will talk about people accusing Trump of things, but will not actually talk about what Trump has done. This can be applied to almost every single news network out there. The news also have another problem. There is a time crunch. They can only pick 4 or 5 topics from a wide range of daily topics. These topics often lack much detail and information. I do believe that one topic would be best for news, since there would be enough detail and information. The news talk in a manner that can easily stress people out. Like I said before, 95% of Americans watch news and half of them get stressed from it. When I watched the news, I thought, oh no, Kim Jong-un is going to nuke us all. I better stress. But in the end, articles came to rescue. Articles are a great way to get a reliable source of information while getting to know more about what you want to hear. What you want to talk about. And though there are articles that try to be bad and misleading and try to persuade you to a certain opinion, there are much more good articles than bad. A good article will have a practitioner or researcher of that subject. You won't have like a garbage truck person just giving you medical advice. But a good article will also have citations to actual studies. A bad article would not include this. The news like to talk and make the most irrelevant thing sound like the most important thing of your life. Put it upon yourself to know more what's around you and not just be easily swayed with the crowd.
Assessments! Assessments! Assessment time! Testing time! Hear all about it! My name is Brianna Stewart and I am going to talk about it. The youth voice. The youth voice refers to distinct ideas, opinions, attitudes, knowledge, and actions of young people just like me. We try our hardest to actually speak and communicate with one another. I believe the rise of teenage suicide, teenage runaways, teenage drug abuse. Different people, regardless of their backgrounds, identities, culture differences. We have a Band-Aid, which is our youth voice. We must apply this Band-Aid as our youth voice. We have the wisdom. We have the abilities. We have adults that care about us young people. Just look around. Look at the adults' role models. We need to be encouraged. This is our youth voice. Brianna Stewart, thank you.
I'm tired of seeing you. I'm only here for 2 more years, y'all, I promise. To then, y'all have to bear with me. But good afternoon, my good people. I'm hoping you all are having a speecherific day. That's right, I just invented a word. My name is Jessica Todd, and I am currently a sophomore at Pelham High School. The title of my speech this year is quote unquote, The Door to Life. Opened by force, broken by impatience. The way I see it, everyone starts off with their own personal door to life. Somewhere along the line, it gets destroyed. Well, what if I were to tell you that the person who caused the destruction has been with you since birth and is with you all right now at this very moment? It's sad yet true, but we've destroyed our own doors. See, human beings are very complicated people. Sometimes we want things to work out so badly, we tend to force it. Well, what happens when you try to force open a door that you don't even have the key to? You pull and pull and pull, then suddenly snap, the knob breaks. You instantly panic, but then you tell yourself you cannot stop now, so you keep forcing this door open until it finally gives in, just to see disappointment staring you right in the eyes. You then ask yourself, why? Why did this happen? I'll tell you why. You forced the moment in your life to happen right then and there. See, there's a two-way street to moments. Two. You have to be ready for the moment, and the moment itself has to be ready for you. Now tell me this. How do you expect everything you want in life to work out? All these dreams and all these goals you set for yourself if you don't have self-control? That door to life represents you. It represents your strength, your power, your patience, everything that requires that moment to be ready for you. Every time you damage any part of that door, you're pushing that moment further away. The broken pieces will always represent your weakness. You want to know why? because it's very hard to open a door that has no knob. And let that sink in. I'm so tired of people forcing open that door and running right through it just to see it come crashing down right before they're... Oh, that's right. It doesn't happen right before your eyes. Because we are so focused on getting that door open that we don't look back to see what damage we caused. I'm trying to get you all to understand that we need to have self-control. Please don't rush it. They say, keep moving forward. But what's the point if you're not even ready? Remember, once the damage to your door has been caused, you cannot hire someone to fix it. It's your door. Will it stand strong and sturdy, or will it come crashing to the ground? It's your choice. Thank you.
Jaden, Ashton, Audrey, Brooke. These are the names of 4 kids who spent the first years of their lives in an abusive, neglectful home. These are the names of children who spent too long in foster care. These are the names of 4 siblings who were almost split up because sibling groups are considered undesirable. These are the names of the 4 strongest kids I know. These are also the names the judge read on June 25th, 2018, while my whole family cried tears of joy. You see, these are the names of my new brothers and sisters. My family adopted Jaden, Ashton, Audrey, and Brookie out of foster care last June, but the ways they have changed our lives cannot be measured by time. For us, it was a fairy tale situation. When we first met, we instantly clicked. They lived with us for 6 months, and then they officially became family. Sadly, this does not happen for everyone. The 428,000 children living in foster care in the United States live in foster homes waiting for the day a family will choose them. Studies suggest that more than half of the children in the foster care system have 1 or more siblings in the system as well. Between 60 and 73% of sibling groups are not housed in the same foster placement or are not adopted into the same families. As these children grow older, their chances of being adopted decrease drastically. More than 23,000 children will age out of the foster care system this year alone, and 20% of them will instantly become homeless. These examples just scratch the surface of the problems these children face every single day. They have nowhere left to turn. That is why we, as leaders, should do our part to help. Often, students feel as though there is nothing they can do. Obviously, we can't foster these children ourselves, but as teens, we are the leaders of tomorrow. We can be a catalyst for change in our communities. Getting involved is easy. One of the many ways to help is offering support to foster families and children. More often than not, simple day-to-day hardships can take a toll on foster families. In addition to dealing with everyday problems, they must also handle caseworker visits, reports, meetings, and endless piles of paperwork. Keeping everything in order can sometimes feel like an extensive task. This is why any small act of kindness or show of support can mean the world to foster families and children. As you can see, the children in foster care hold a special place in my heart. My family's story had a happy ending, but for some, this is simply not the case. This is why I encourage everyone to help spread this message and bring stability to these children's lives. We can change the world, one child at a time. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Michael Kennedy, and I'm here to talk to you about the importance of the arts in our schools. The arts has made a big impact on me, and I can see many benefits of the arts throughout school. There are 3 major things I've seen the arts do within the school system that I believe show the validity on why the arts matter, especially in school. I've seen the arts unite the student body, teach students the importance of discipline, and teach students different ways of thinking than they're used to. I've seen the arts unite the student body as a whole, that in a ways are bound breaking. It's like all the arts just break spells.
I'm a senior at the Little Rock Central High School, and today I will be talking about improving communities through intergenerational conversations. So I saw a meme on Instagram, and it said we should respect our older people because they learned how to answer questions without Google. And I think that's a great way to segue into my first point, which is that the younger generations need to listen to older generations. 1, Because the older generations simply have been there before. They know what works and what didn't work, and why would you not listen to someone who's been down similar paths and similar struggles from their society to our societies? But, on the other hand, times have changed. So it's also important for older generations to listen to and learn from the younger generations, because maybe what works for them won't work in today's society. Different stakes, different times. And also the older generation can learn from the younger generation new ways to do things, different ways, different perspectives as things have changed. So for one example, racial relations has been a continual issue throughout society for generations and more generations. And a way that the younger generation can learn from the older generation is because obviously with the civil rights movement, the older generation has been through that before. And they had to learn when to sit down or stand up and protest and when to be quiet. But the older generation can learn from the younger generation because of social media. Black Lives Matter was a hashtag. Me Too started as a hashtag. These things started on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, social media. The older generation can learn from the younger generation new ways how to protest, new ways how to speak up and use their voices using social media. As a child growing up, my parents always made sure to include me in community forums or going to different community events. Oftentimes, my brother and I were the youngest people in the room. Other parents parent using the phrases, children's business, or this is grown folks' business, stay in a child's place. But my parents didn't abide by those rules, so we were often the youngest kids in the room. I think that should be changed. I think we should have more inclusion of the youth in order to promote and encourage better communities. So I'm gonna end with a snippet of an original poem. I'm from the 501, where there's a lot of problems and issues and used tissues and toxic people who will stab you in the back right after they kiss you, where there's trouble all around. Not that many mentors sought and not that many mentors found. I'm from the 501, where it's hard for little girls to find love because little boys tote around drugs and guns and don't know the damage they cause until after it's done. Where positive outlets and safe spaces aren't all in our faces, where education isn't doing its job in our communities, and where we're losing our youth because of lack of opportunities. But we aren't just statistics. I'm from the 501. Cole said there's beauty in the struggle, and even though we have some problems, there's still greatness in this city. There's still art and creativity. There's still some people willing to stop all the stealing and stop all the killing and to start the city's healing. It's gonna take work. So we're gonna have to work and build from the ground up, starting with the dirt. Thank you.
Good afternoon, my name is Adasia Cooper, and I am going to present about the Elizabeth Eckford Bench Project. Now, as a senior from the historic Little Rock Central High School, I'm honored to be able to experience living history firsthand, most notably through the Little Rock Nine. On September 4th of 1957, Miss Elizabeth Eckford made her first attempt into Little Rock Central High School, but was denied entry by the National Guard. After she was followed by a mob of angry segregatists, she sat and waited at a bus stop bench where she saw as a safe haven. Now, 60 years later, in 2017, during the anniversary of the desegregation of Little Rock Central High School, I was encouraged to come up with creative ways to honor and celebrate her story. So I began to research the events of that day, and I noticed that the bench was no longer standing. So I began to make detailed sketches and computer-aided designs of the bench using the limited amount of photos that we had. Now, I located a mentor with a background in construction, and together we created a final design of the bench. With the help of a teacher, I went to a local Home Depot and we presented the idea, and they generously donated supplies to build not only one, but 2 benches. Even though at that time I had a huge fear of public speaking, I continued to make presentations to community leaders, including the National Park Service, the Bullock Temple CME Church, the Clemson School of Public Service, and members of the National Rotary Club. As a result, we gained national support and more than $30,000 in donations. All right, now. The construction of the bench included parents, teachers, volunteers, and other members of our community. On September 4th of 2018, we unveiled the bench in the presence of our community. This project would not be possible without the compassion and love of our community members. This project does not belong to me or my school, but it belongs to the citizens of Arkansas and the people of our nation. This project represents the courage and determination of Ms. Eckford and the determination of the Little Rock Nine, who led the way to the beautiful, diverse schools seen in Central and schools across the United States. This project has taught me that time heals all wounds, because 61 years later, when Ms. Eckford sat on the reconstructed bench in front of a crowd of astonished people, there was enough room for the love and support of the entire world. Thank you so much for listening.
My name is Chisonaza Ogu, and my title of my speech is My Name Is. My name is Chisonaza Ogu, female, black, 4.0 GPA, 31 on the ACT, senior at Little Rock Central High School, extracurricular activities. This part was the hardest for me to fill out on my college applications. What makes me different from all the other students in my grade, my age, who have done as much as I have done to go to this college or this university? Ever since 9th grade year, my counselors and my teachers have told me colleges want a well-rounded student. Every year, without fail, the principal presents a story of a former student who was the top of his class, had all great grades, focused so much on his education, but he was denied admission to a prestigious school because he did not have any extracurricular activities. Looking back at my high school career, I wondered, is this me? I don't do a lot of clubs and sports because I have to be at home, but I really do want to give back to my community. What have I done to show that to other college admissions? What makes me unique from you, or you? One, my name. My name is Chisonaza Constance Ogu. My parents are Nigerians, immigrants from Nigeria. I may not be a first generation college student, but my mother has a master's degree and my father has a bachelor's. So I know that they care about education as much as I do. Two, I'm the oldest of four. My three siblings are in the back over there, and they can attest for this, but since I can drive now, I've been driving them to school, to work, to the library, to different events. My mother's a pharmacy student, and my dad is a call hauler. So I know that I need to be patient with them in order for them to learn. I may be leaving in I think it's half a year. I may be leaving by the next year, but I want them to know that I am always here for them, and that my parents have tried so much to get to teach them as much as they can so that their education will help them be greater in society. Third, I moved here from Little Rock. I moved here from Houston to Little Rock 9th grade year. I moved from a small middle school to Little Rock Central High School, a huge school with 25,000 students. That was a big shift for me, especially since I was like, you know what? I want to go to pharmacy school. Let's all move. But that change has taught me that even if I don't like what's going to happen to me, I know that my parents, my friends, my little siblings who bother me so much will always be there for me. So what I want college admissions to see about me is my name is Chisonaza Ogu. I'm not just a studious student. I see my family as important as my education. I sing to music even though my voice does not sound that well. There's only one of me in this world. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Hannah Taylor. I am 17 years old and a student at Conway High School, and the title of my speech is My Tongue is a Weapon. Ever since a young age, I realized my tongue could form words so powerful they could make people feel something. They could create stories so vivid that I was actually a princess, but saving myself from my own dragons. They could make people laugh so hard that their stomachs hurt. They could help my grandmother recovering from a stroke remember who she was, how much I loved her, and that everything would be okay in the end. But they could also do something that I never believed to be imaginable. They could hurt somebody that I loved so much. I could look in my mother's eyes at the age of 6 and say, I hate you! Something that I did not mean, but I didn't realize the importance of my words. That is why I believe that we should focus on the importance of our words in our everyday lives. Ever since a young age, I've been seen as the chatterbox, Exhibit A. The only time I would ever get in trouble at school was when I was talking at rest time. However, as I grew older, I began to get in more trouble with my words. In the 5th grade, I sat down at lunch in my cafeteria as the girl across from me dumped her lunch all over herself. Now, this is a little mistake that all of us do, but I decided to laugh at her and taunt her for this. I laughed at her. I watched her face turn red with embarrassment, her eyes go to the ground. She was shaking, her lip was trembling. But me and my friend decided to attack her with vicious words. I realized that my tongue was a weapon. I saw what I did to her as she ran away. I wanted to chase after her, but I couldn't. I just stayed there and I watched her hurt, and then I started to hurt because I made somebody feel so bad about themselves. I thought about this experience for weeks on end, and I tried to find her. I wanted to apologize, say I'm sorry, we can be friends, this happens to everybody, but to no avail. That's when I realized that if my tongue was a weapon, I would only use it to shield the weak in times of injustice. Words have started wars. Words have professed undying love. Words have made people famous within a few sentences. And words have also made kids just like us feel as though they are unworthy to be on this very earth. I believe in the power of words because I want to do this for a living someday. I believe in the power of words because it's so much better to lift somebody up than to ruin their entire self-esteem. I believe in the power of words because at one point, I didn't. Thank you.
I want to thank each one of you for being here. It's so important to the participants, the support that you've given them, the time of rehearsal. But without this guy's vision, without Ralph Vine's vision, this wouldn't have been possible. And look at the lives that are being changed and being changed because of his vision. Give him a round of applause.
But in our minds, you're all winners. Having said that, we are going to announce our 9 to 12-year-old category right now. And we actually have a tie for first place. So that means we will be giving 2 first place prizes. Award, cash. Congratulations. We'll do ladies first. Okay. Nora Vincent. Nora, let you take a photo with the trophy. We'll make sure we. First place winner is Ethan Gong. These are winners in the 9 to 12-year-old category. In our second group of 9 to 12-year-olds, we need a drum roll, don't we? Ask and you shall receive. Thank you, students. You're so on top of it. In third place, Megan McKinney. Alonzo Montgomery. And our first place winner in this category, Ariana Williams. Reese Connors. Congratulations. In second place, Dominique Diamond.
The whole outfit.
And in first place, Michelle Gong. From the second group of students, in third place, Brianna Stewart. In second place, Miss Emily Webb. And in first place, Mr. Dylan Patel. In the 17 to 19-year-old category, in third place, Miss Adasia Cooper. Congratulations. In second place, Miss Jamie McAdoo. Congratulations as well, Jamie. And our winner in the 17 to 19-year-old category is Miss Hannah Taylor. And as you are aware, all of our students will be taking home awards, but obviously these are the top winners, and we're so proud of you all students. But let's give the top winners and the group of students. Without further ado, please welcome Ms. Lizanne Rockefeller, who will help us present our $500, our grand prize.
Thank you for supporting and your willingness to give this building to use for our contest.
Hannah Taylor. Hannah Taylor, the recipient of this year's $500 Winthrop P. Rockefeller Grand Prize in the Ralph Vines II Public Speaking Competition. Another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. All students who did not.
Yeah, let me give you a card with mine. I'll let him do what he's doing.
Okay.
Right here.
This, the other, everyone did.